I decide to order yet another cup of coffee, I realize that the inflexible rigidity of the Japanese society that Endo portrays, in fact, does strike a very, very familiar chord to me. The waitress places 2 more cups of coffee before us. I will soon be able to repair the awkward silence between Mr. Kato and myself and give him an answer to his question, for I now understand that it's Endo's people who provide me with conclusive evidence of a connection between Endo's world and my own. So I tell this to Mr. Kato, and he smiles. Having listened to my long-winded answer to his question, he now seems pleased to have some kind of an understanding why Endo means so much to a writer from the other side of the world. As the bill arrives, Mr. Kato is concerned to stress that despite the gravity of his subject matter, Endo was a very humorous man, and he remained an optimist. From the little I've read about Endo's life, I already guessed as much. I reassure Mr. Kato that to my mind, Endo's great gift to his readers, Japanese or otherwise, is to dignify ambiguity, to celebrate the puzzling grey area, and remind us that those old loyalties and certainties are, in our modern world, subject to fluidity and transformation, irrespective of what the authorities above us, religious or otherwise, might have us believe. And today, if we are to survive in our 21st century world, slippage, hybridity, and change must be embraced and must go unpunished. Endo's baptism and his journey to France rocked the foundation of his identity. The fact that he chose not to fearfully grasp a safe and reductive and uncomplicated identity, but chose instead to try to synthesize these new influences and shape a new form of Japanese identity for himself and his society is his great achievement. Mr. Kato stands and gives me a small bow, which I somewhat self-consciously return. Mr. Kato clears his throat. He says, before Endo writes any book, he always picks up Mr. Graham Greene's The End of the Affair, and he reads it through. I think maybe you should know this. I thank Mr. Kato for his time, and I smile. There's more bowing, and then I watch him thread his way through the crowded foyer of the hotel and disappear through the glass doors and out into the busy streets of the Shibuya shopping area. What I didn't tell Mr. Kato was that before I write any book, I always pick up the work of Mr. Shusaku Endo, usually the novel Silence. This literary baton passing continues to make some highly unlikely themes out of a rainbow coalition of writers. Thank you.